The second level of truth-telling is to tell the truth to yourself about another. That's also difficult because I didn't want to admit to myself, even though no one else could even hear me or knew what I was thinking, I didn't want to admit to myself how I was feeling about another person, good or bad. This became startlingly clear to me when many, many years ago now, I was in a relationship with a young woman, and it had turned in a way I didn't really choose, but I didn't want to feel that I was no longer in love with that person. My mind was even saying to me, how can you feel that way? You know, you can't. She's just a perfectly lovely human being, a perfectly wonderful person. So I had to fight internally to tell myself the truth. You know, it's just not what I'm thinking I want to, experience for the rest of my life. So we're not going to do this. It was a very seminal moment in which I finally agreed with myself that perhaps I need to tell the truth just to myself about another. The third level of truth-telling that I've been aware of is when I tell the truth about myself to another. The fourth level of truth-telling is when I tell my truth about another to that other. And the fifth level of truth-telling that I've learned about is when I tell the truth about everything to everyone, whatever the question is. And that's where I've been residing now for about 35 years or so. Just let it all hang out.
And what were the repercussions of that?
Well, as I said, I had more friends, more loved ones, more people who felt closer to me than I ever did before.
And I think the key to that also is connection. So many people come to me, I'm a life coach, and they say, I don't feel connected to anything. I don't feel a connection to the universe, to God, to myself, to any other human being. And it's because they're not telling the truth. I think when you connect to you fully, what you're saying, and you get to know yourself really well, then you'll know who a real friend is, and people will connect to you because they're connecting to a real person. People could feel a false person right away and just they're not interested because
you can't even live your truth. You can't live your truth if you haven't decided what it is and then announced it. How can you step into the living of your own truth? So you're just a walking lie, really, and it's a difficult way to live. It takes a lot of courage to do that. I wouldn't recommend it.
Right, I don't either.
It never turns out well. It doesn't turn out well. As our mutual friend, Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for you?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, conversations with God, what inspired that? Where were you in your life? And
nothing in my life was working, Lisa. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Okay.
but it's a very simple story. My life was falling apart. My
How
career.
old were you?
How old was I?
30s, 40s?
No. When I had the conversation with God experience, I was closer to 50. I was about 49. So it was at a time in my life when I would have thought by 49 or 50 that I had at least, if nothing else, gotten my game together, and at least I had things handled on the relationship front or the work front or something. But in fact, it was a time when everything in my life was falling apart. My career had reached a dead end. My relationship with my significant other was crumbling right in front of my face, and my health was going downhill as well, rapidly. So, nothing was working. Not any one of the things you'd like to, you could almost tolerate this if these two were in place, or you could tolerate that if these two were in place. But I had my health, my relationship, and my career all at the same time just fall apart. And I sat on the couch one night at 4:30 in the morning. I got up in the middle of the night. I couldn't understand, what does it take to make life work? What have I done to deserve a life of such continuing struggle? And what are the rules? Somebody tell me the rules. I'll play, I promise, I'll play. Just give me the rule book. I know I can play by the rules, but don't change the rules every 5 minutes also, if you please. So I was very, very angry about how my life had turned out. And I was, at the age of 50, so furious that I couldn't sleep. When I woke up one morning and found a yellow legal pad on the coffee table, and I picked it up and I wrote a very angry letter to God. Just getting my anger out. And I wrote those exact words. What does it take to make life work? I was really furious. And I remember thinking to myself on that couch at 4:25 in the morning, either you give me some answers here, or I'm done. I'm out. I'm not willing to play. I'm not willing to play.